When the dismissal letter was handed to me, perhaps fearing I'd cause a scene, Nathaniel even held a department-wide meeting. As soon as I walked into the conference room, a stack of documents was aggressively thrown at my face. "Scarlett, is this the project you were in charge of? We lost 2 million yuan. Do you know what that means? Luna worked hard for so long and brought in 20 million for the company, and one mistake, and you lose 10% of that." Nathaniel pointed at me, shouting angrily. The entire conference room buzzed with whispers. I turned my head, slowly seeing Luna awkwardly avoiding my gaze, and it all became clear. It was like this again. Luna had messed up the project, and Nathaniel, afraid she'd be held accountable, put all the blame on me. I scoffed contemptuously, not bothering to argue. I had argued before, but always lost. Every time they wanted to frame me, Nathaniel and Luna were always prepared. No matter how I explained, he could always produce fake evidence that left me no room to react. Last night, because of the 20 million yuan project I had just submitted, Nathaniel had happily hugged me, saying he would give me a big reward. Yet today, he had completely turned his back on me. The credit for the project went to Luna. The fault was mine. Even though I was mentally prepared, I still felt a chill in my heart. Seeing my silence, Nathaniel thought I was being compliant, like before, so his voice softened a bit. "Considering you've been with the company for so long, simply firing you and not demanding compensation is already being lenient. Now go." Below the stage, colleagues whispered among themselves. Finally, someone couldn't hold back and spoke up for me. "Does this need to be reinvestigated? I think Scarlett works very diligently. It's unlikely she'd make such a serious mistake. Could it be a misunderstanding?" Many people chimed in agreement. Luna, from the side, gently refuted. "Are you all implying that Director Nathaniel is framing her?" As soon as she finished speaking, Nathaniel immediately reacted as if he'd been stepped on, angrily scolding the colleague who had just spoken up. "You trust her that much? Then take responsibility with her. You and she pay back the money, and I'll keep her in the company." Hearing that, the colleague fell silent, and the others dared not say another word. Luna wasn't done, feigning distress. "It seems everyone supports Scarlett so much. How about I resign and give my position back to her? Besides, Scarlett is your girlfriend, so it's only natural for her to stay." "Girlfriend? This is a company. There are only subordinates here, no romantic relationships." Nathaniel's voice was stern, feigning righteousness. "She caused a loss, so she must take responsibility. She's the one who should go. Anyone who disagrees can go with her." With that, his gaze swept across the room, like a warning. Everyone understood and fell silent. After all, if even her own boyfriend treated me like this, others had no reason to defend me. I saw him glance at Luna with satisfaction, and my heart felt only icy cold. Back then, Nathaniel and I joined the company as interns together. At that time, he was at the bottom of the evaluation list. I had to work hard to find projects for him, helping him get officially hired. He said he wanted a promotion, so I socialized everywhere, brought in projects, credited them to him, and helped him become a manager. Then he said no one respected him, so I stayed up day and night brainstorming ideas. For 3 years, I dedicated myself to helping him establish himself in the company and rise to the position of director. As for me, because I focused all my efforts on him, I had no significant achievements of my own. When the director appointment was announced, he dragged me out for drinks, crying profusely with emotion, and promised to promote me and show me a future. But in less than a month, he fast-tracked Luna's recruitment, gave all the profitable projects to her, and left me with the difficult ones. Later, when Luna messed up a project, he abused his power, unhesitatingly shifting all the responsibility to me. I argued with him furiously. Each time, he used Luna's difficult circumstances, her sick mother, to win me over, promising it would be the last time. I soft-heartedly believed him, but it was the same every time. I was already so disappointed. Then, 3 months ago, he suddenly brought up marriage. He said that as long as I signed this 20 million yuan project, he would promote me and propose on that very day. I thought he had changed. I had trusted him so many times. One more time wouldn't hurt. But just as I suspected, he disappointed me again. The recent promotion party went to Luna, and the marriage proposal turned into a loving gaze between the two of them. At this point, I knew anything I said would be useless. I nodded. Okay, I'll go. Nathaniel smirked with satisfaction. Having achieved his goal, he then used me as an example, warned our colleagues a few times, and then declared the meeting adjourned. After everyone had left, he stopped me. His attitude immediately changed, his voice softening. Scarlett, don't take what just happened to heart. I had no choice. Luna just got promoted. If this got out now, people wouldn't be convinced, and they'd question my judgment. I had no other way. You're my girlfriend, I trust you'll understand. I looked at him, feigning indifference, saying nothing. Luna beside him blamed herself. This is also my fault. If I hadn't made a mistake, Scarlett wouldn't have to leave. Her mouth said one thing, but her eyes were full of triumph. We all knew she did it on purpose. Luna wanting to drive me away wasn't a new thing, it was just a pity that Nathaniel didn't realize it, just like now. Seeing Luna upset, Nathaniel immediately left me to comfort her. Don't be sad, I know you didn't mean to. Do your job well from now on, consider it making up for Scarlett. Besides, Scarlett has me to take care of her, she'll be fine. This so-called taking care of meant giving me 500 yuan a month, while I had to handle all household expenses. Luna smiled and nodded. Luckily, you're here for Scarlett. I'll try my best from now on. But... She looked flustered. I'm new to the company, I don't have many connections yet. As if it had been prearranged, as soon as he heard that, Nathaniel turned to me. Scarlett, I remember you have a list of partners. Share some with Luna, okay? Luna feigned shyness. How can that be? Why not? It's just sharing resources. Everyone has tough times. When Scarlett needs help later, you can help her back. The two of them worked together seamlessly. I had never compared before, but only at this moment did I realize that compared to the perfunctory reassurances Nathaniel used to give me, with Luna, he actually took action. He clearly understood that when help was needed, besides verbal comfort, actual action was required. I had taught him for 5 years, and in the end, he applied everything he learned from me to another woman, right in front of me. I laughed scornfully. I knew he was shameless, but I never expected him to be this shameless. Nathaniel continued to lecture me. Luna has a difficult family situation. It wasn't easy for her to get where she is today. You should be a bit more understanding. I believe my girlfriend is a kind person. Before, whenever he praised me, even if I wasn't willing, I would nod in agreement. He thought I liked sweet talk, so he always used those words to flatter me, making it hard for me to refuse. But he didn't know that I just wanted to make him happy. However, now, if the price of his happiness was to constantly push me into a corner, then having a boyfriend like that didn't matter. Seeing my prolonged lack of reaction, Nathaniel began to whine. Are you even my girlfriend anymore? No. I cut him off, my voice calm. Nathaniel, we're breaking up. As soon as the words left my mouth, Nathaniel froze. What did you say? Before I could answer, Luna beside him quickly gasped. Scarlett, if you don't want to share resources, then fine, but don't say such harsh words. It's really scary. Hearing her, Nathaniel seemed to come to his senses. Are you threatening me with a breakup? Scarlett, you were so well behaved just now, I thought you'd changed, but you're still the same. Fine, if you want to break up, then break up, but don't regret it. But I advise you to think carefully. Now you've lost your job. If you don't have a boyfriend anymore, you really have nothing left. After saying that, he made a show of walking out, but his steps were very slow. I understood, this was his old trick, giving me time to reconsider and apologize to him. But this time, even though half his body was out the door, I didn't stop him. Nathaniel frowned. Seeing I made no move, he got angry and deliberately took Luna's hand. Let's go. Clearly, he didn't take my words seriously, nor did he consider this matter important. It was true. In college, I loved him madly, following him around every day, finding every way to make him happy. Even a few times when I had the opportunity to win scholarships, I gave them to him. Everyone knew how much I loved him, even he himself knew it clearly. Back then, he also saved his meal money to buy me small gifts, and he once traveled for over 10 hours by train to celebrate my birthday during our long-distance relationship. We overcame the breakup after graduation curse and even tried to get into the same company so we wouldn't be separated. I had given him everything I could, so he believed I would never break up with him just for a little bit of resources. But he didn't know that ever since Luna appeared, I had been disappointed time and time again. The heart that was once full of love was now worn down to emptiness. I said nothing, packed up my belongings from my desk, then returned to the rented apartment Nathaniel and I used to share, threw all my things into the trash, and then called a taxi to go home. As soon as I walked in, my father, who was putting down the newspaper, looked at me and then behind me, mocking. Why are you back alone, looking so glum? Did the proposal not happen? I calmly replied. Yeah, we broke up. My father immediately shot up from the sofa. Really? I understood his suspicion. My father knew how much I loved Nathaniel, so he thought if I was heartbroken, I'd be crying uncontrollably, hugging him and sobbing to my heart's content. I used to think that too. But at this moment, I was calmer than ever. In fact, Nathaniel was wrong about me having nothing left. My father is a businessman. Even if I was fired, it didn't matter, I still had an inheritance from my family. Initially, because my parents thought Nathaniel was a poor man trying to make a fortune and had a prejudice against him, plus I didn't want to take over the family business, I had never told him my true identity. Unexpectedly, in our graduation year, the company Nathaniel desperately wanted to join was my family's company. So, I pleaded with my father for 3 days. Finally, my father had no choice but to make a bet with me. As long as I could get Nathaniel to marry me without him knowing my true identity, he would accept him as his son-in-law. If I failed, I would have to take over the company. At that time, I was very confident in his love and agreed without hesitation. Last night, when I handed him the 20 million yuan project, I was still secretly wondering if he would propose today. But now that I think about it, it no longer matters. I patted my father's shoulder. Comrade Thomas Song, please give me the company's quarterly report. I'll take it upstairs and read it. Now, compared to that vague love, I was more eager to build a career. While living in the rented apartment, Nathaniel often used the excuse of relaxing to play games and voice chat with Luna. By the time he finished playing, it would be 2 or 3 in the morning, often causing me to lose sleep. I thought coming home would allow me to get a good night's sleep, but unexpectedly, in the middle of the night, while I was half asleep, I received a call from Nathaniel. I intended to decline, but my hand instinctively pressed the answer button before I could think. Scarlett, check your messages. I sent you the address. Come here right away. As soon as the call connected, his voice was urgent. I opened my phone and saw that he had indeed sent an address half a minute ago. I didn't even need to guess, he wanted me to come and replace Luna at a client meeting again. Unfortunately, if it succeeded, the credit would go to Luna. If it failed, Nathaniel would blame me endlessly. I sneered. No, it's too far. It's not far at all. It's near your house, 5 minutes by taxi, Nathaniel replied. I quickly reacted, so he still didn't know I had moved out. Did that mean after work, he didn't even bother to go home and directly went to meet clients with Luna until now? Yet, when I went to client meetings and asked him to accompany me as my superior to make a good impression, he always made up excuses about being busy or tired and refused to go. But talking about those things now was meaningless. Before I could even ask if he remembered we had broken up, he just blurted out, "Come quickly." Then he hung up. Just as the call ended, I even heard him tenderly say to Luna, "Don't drink anymore, Scarlett is coming soon." I was so angry I laughed. 2 seconds later, I texted him back, reminding him once again that we had broken up. Then I turned off my phone and went back to sleep. The next morning, I saw that Nathaniel had called several times and sent a series of threatening messages. It seemed he realized his old tricks weren't working, so he finally posted something on WeChat Moments. It was a picture. He and Luna, hands intertwined, facing the camera, smiling brightly. The caption read, "See how good we look together? I don't believe you won't be jealous." Accompanied by a playful emoji. It was clearly written for me. Before, when we first started dating, if he just talked to another girl for too long, I would get jealous. Let alone a photo together or holding hands like this. Nathaniel knew this weakness, so he had made me yield countless times. Below the post, friends who didn't know the inside story rushed to offer their blessings, and some even joked, "I've eaten all the Shangxi vinegar. Let go quickly, let me hold director Nathaniel's hand." Under each comment, he replied with a face with hand over mouth emoji. I never thought I would be so calm. I originally planned to ignore it, but right then, my close friends sent messages. One friend sent a screenshot, tagging me. "Scarlett, what is this? Isn't Nathaniel your boyfriend? What's going on now? Who is that girl?" All question marks. Someone who seemed to have heard something asked me, "I heard Nathaniel fired you because of this girl? Is that true?" As soon as the news broke, the group chat was in an uproar. "Scarlett, tell us, if there's anything unfair, we'll help you get justice." My friends all knew about my relationship with Nathaniel. Over the past few years, many of his projects were given to him because they respected me. Initially, I didn't plan to tell them about the breakup, but now Nathaniel himself had made it public. I saw no reason to hide it anymore. The whole group chat exploded, everyone brainstorming ways to retaliate. Finally, one friend spoke up. "You guys are all treating the symptoms, not the root cause. Wait and see how I handle it." Everyone clamored to ask what he planned to do. He mysteriously replied, "Don't ask, just wait and watch the show." 2 days later, it seemed Nathaniel finally discovered I had moved out, but he only made 2 or 3 phone calls and sent 2 more messages before falling silent. Perhaps feeling that the previous photo wasn't effective enough, for a while after that, he started constantly posting on WeChat Moments. Today, it was a photo of Luna wearing an apron and cooking at his place, having a candlelit dinner. The next day, it was a photo of them going to the zoo together, sharing an umbrella. Nathaniel was never one to be overly intimate with women, yet now he was so affectionate. I pretended not to see it. A few days later, Nathaniel proactively sent me a photo of a contract. He even deliberately circled the number 100 million in red pen on the contract. Even without him in front of me, I could feel the excitement in his voice. "So what if you don't help? I told you, Luna can rise on her own. Now I'm giving you one last chance. As long as you apologize to me and Luna, I'll get back together with you. I might even share a portion of the profits from this project with you." The message arrived just as I was preparing to go to the company with my father to officially take on the role of general manager. Recently, my father had always wanted to personally step in and find an excuse to fire Nathaniel. But I had stopped him. With his and Luna's abilities, they would cause trouble sooner or later, but the timing wasn't right yet. If I immediately fired them after taking office, no matter how I explained it, it would be hard to avoid gossip. My father didn't push it either. At the company, he went upstairs first. I parked the car and followed, and as a reflex, I found myself walking into my old office. Kiss. Kiss. Before I even stepped through the door, I heard laughter inside. Looking in, I saw a large cake on the table. My former colleagues gathered around, shouting and cheering. Nathaniel and Luna stood in the middle. She used the very spoon she had just eaten with to feed him a bite of cake. And Nathaniel, who used to be a germaphobe, didn't even frown. He just smiled brightly and ate it with relish. I felt nauseated and turned to leave. Just 2 steps away, Luna's voice rang out from behind me. "Scarlett, why are you at the company?" Everyone immediately turned to look at me. Nathaniel briefly panicked, then quickly regained his composure, raising an eyebrow with smug satisfaction. "Regretting it now?" "But it's a little too late," Luna added with a smile. "Since Scarlett is so willing, Director Nathaniel, give her a chance." Nathaniel, as usual, was led by her. He looked down at me, saying coldly, "Giving you a chance is fine. But you have to apologize to me and Luna in front of everyone, for your selfishness." Selfishness? That word made me laugh. Luna and I weren't always at odds from the beginning. When he used to say she had difficult circumstances and a sick mother, I didn't say a word. I secretly withdrew all my money to help, and I told Nathaniel to lie and say it was a bonus so she wouldn't feel embarrassed. She needed to meet clients but didn't have decent clothes, so I gave her a brand new designer dress I had just bought. I tried every way to help her, always finding reasons to save her face. But then, she went to Nathaniel and told him I was a bad person who only gave her my old, discarded things. Nathaniel clearly knew my intentions, yet he still believed her words and blamed me instead. Speaking of selfishness, who was truly selfish in the end? Seeing me standing still, not reacting, Nathaniel began to frown, seemingly about to get angry. A colleague quickly tried to mediate, bringing a piece of cake over. "Since Scarlett's here, let's all have a piece and celebrate." Before he could reach my hand, Nathaniel waved his hand, knocking the cake to the ground. "Eat what? She's unemployed now. What right does she have to share with us?" Luna also chimed in. "Scarlett, I know you must feel bad, but this is enough. You know, Director Nathaniel's bonus for this project is almost enough to buy a whole house." It sounded like she was defending him, but I understood. She was saying that to imply to Nathaniel's face that I was only coming back for money. Just one sentence, and she planted seeds of doubt in his mind. Nathaniel looked at me with disgust. "Go on, don't stand here and dirty this place." With that, he gestured for colleagues to escort me out. Just as the atmosphere was tense, the adjacent elevator opened. My father stepped out, his expression annoyed. "What's all this noise about?" Everyone immediately fell silent, scattering in all directions. Seeing my father, Nathaniel's and Luna's eyes lit up. Both hurried over, bowing respectfully. "General Manager Song, there's an outsider who doesn't belong to the company sneaking in." I was just about to escort her out. After saying that, Nathaniel, without ceremony, reached out to pull me. Before he could even touch me, my father pushed him away, put his arm around my shoulder, and shook his head with a helpless smile. "My dear daughter, still like when you were little, wandering everywhere. Your office is upstairs, why are you running down here?" As soon as the words left his mouth, Nathaniel's eyes immediately widened as he stared at me. "My daughter? General Manager Song, she's your daughter?" Nathaniel stared, his face a mask of disbelief and confusion. My father, in high spirits after I agreed to join the company, smiled and even joked cheerfully. He gave a thumbs up and said clearly, "Yes, she's my daughter. What do you think? Pretty, isn't she?" Over the years, to prevent my father from secretly making things difficult for Nathaniel, I had kept information about him very private. My father had never met him, and didn't even know his name. At this moment, Nathaniel's lips trembled, his face drained of all color. "How can this be? How can she be?" He looked at me, his eyes full of hope, as if he wanted me to say something to explain. But I just glanced at him coldly, then turned to my father. "I just took a wrong turn, it's fine, let's go upstairs, Dad." "Oh, right, the conference room is waiting for the new general manager to take office." With that, my father cheerfully pressed the elevator button. Just 2 steps away, Luna suddenly stepped out. General manager song, I disagree. If Scarlett becomes general manager of this company, I won't accept it. Perhaps this was the first time my father had heard such words, as he paused, thinking he had misheard. I nodded to confirm, and he immediately turned to look at Luna with a "Are you crazy?" look, then growled, "Who are you? Do you have a say here? All senior executives have agreed, and it took me 8 years to convince my daughter to come back and work for the company. By what right do you not accept it?" Seeing my father's anger, Nathaniel immediately rushed to intervene. Having been in the company for many years, he understood my father's temper too well. Once he truly lost his temper, anything said would be useless. He quickly shielded Luna and explained, "She's my subordinate, she just signed a contract worth over $100 million for the company." Hearing about the large contract, my father's expression softened slightly. But he was still unhappy and turned to ask, "Not accept what?" Colleagues around us were already peeking out to eavesdrop. My father knew that if this wasn't handled immediately, it would surely spread as gossip. Luna loudly declared, "Scarlett is just like me, she was once Director Nathaniel's subordinate. But not long ago, she was fired from the company for losing a project. Her ability is clearly poor, yet just because she's your daughter, she gets to be general manager. I'm worried she'll drag the entire company down." With a 100 million yuan project in hand, Luna was much bolder now. She fabricated lies about me without batting an eye. Nathaniel, standing next to her, was startled. As soon as he heard her, he understood that things were escalating and quickly pulled her sleeve, signaling her to shut up. But Luna seemed oblivious and added, "If you don't believe me, you can ask Director Nathaniel." Immediately, everyone in the room turned their attention to Nathaniel. He bit his lip, looking at me. The entire office held its breath, the words "drama unfolding" almost visibly written on everyone's faces. Nathaniel was my superior, the one who directly witnessed my work. His words carried a lot of weight with colleagues in the company. Everyone was waiting to see what he would say. If he spoke ill of me, no matter how much my father wanted to protect me, he would surely reconsider letting me hold the general manager position. And clearly, Nathaniel thought so too. He hesitated for a long time. Until Luna couldn't stand it anymore and urged him, "Director Nathaniel, just tell the truth, don't be afraid. This company, although it belongs to General Manager Song, is also a workplace for all of us. Everyone has the right to supervise." After hearing her, Nathaniel looked around. Everyone's ears were perked up, their eyes eagerly awaiting. I also stood there, waiting for the answer from my former boss, with whom I had worked closely for 5 years. I looked directly into his eyes, saw him grit his teeth, and finally, slowly, he nodded. "Luna is right. Scarlett was indeed fired by the company. With such ability, she is indeed not qualified to be general manager." "Nonsense." As soon as the words left his mouth, my father roared directly at Nathaniel. The entire office was stunned, including him. No one expected a businessman like my father to utter such rude words. Only I wasn't surprised. From childhood, my father had always doted on me and understood my abilities and personality very well. He would never allow anyone to slander me. I remembered back in high school, I was always at the top of my class, but I loved to wear makeup and dress well. Some parents, displeased, deliberately complained to my father, saying I was the play hard skip school type, and that even if my grades were good now, they would surely plummet later. My father, upon hearing this, didn't bother with pleasantries and retorted directly, "Your son studies every day and doesn't play hard, yet I don't see his grades being much higher than my daughter's." That person argued, "My son develops slowly but steadily, his time will come later." My father chuckled, "Oh really? Are you planning to wait until he's 80 or 90 before he shines? What good would that do then?" The other person was speechless. I thought my father would save face, but he didn't beat around the bush. Just as the person was about to leave, my father pursued, "Oh, right, you're almost 50 this year, aren't you? Is your current floundering career also because of slow but steady development?" Did you play hard and skip school when you were little too? And why did you play so hard? Still haven't stopped? Those rapid-fire questions made the 40 or 50-year-old man cover his face and flee. So now, when my father heard Nathaniel say I wasn't capable, he didn't think twice and immediately retorted. My father's gaze swept over the colleagues eavesdropping nearby, and he pointed at one of them. I don't believe what he said. You tell me, how has my daughter worked in the company these past few years? The person pointed at, who had been enjoying the show, immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Even if Nathaniel had intentionally stolen my credit and given it to Luna, everyone deep down knew what my contributions to the department were. I knew he originally intended to side with Nathaniel. After all, that was his direct superior. But now my father had directly said he didn't believe Nathaniel. If he said the wrong thing, the consequences would not be light. Stuck between two forces, telling the truth would offend his boss, while lying would cost him his job. The colleague's eyes darted around frantically. Finally, he clutched his stomach and took a step back. Sorry, I have a stomachache. With that, he turned and ran for his life, not daring to look back. The others, as if given a command to disperse, quickly retreated in disarray. Such a series of ridiculous actions attracted even more attention from other departments. Many people began to peek out of their offices, looking toward our side. Seeing that something was wrong, my father frowned, looked at me, and quietly asked, "Daughter, what's your relationship with these people? Are they intentionally targeting you?" At this point, I no longer hid anything and told my father their true identities. My father was already angry, and now hearing this, he became even more furious. He lunged to slap Nathaniel, but I managed to stop him in time. Not because I felt bad about hitting him, but because I was afraid we'd have to compensate him if I did. He wasn't worth it. Seeing my father's unvented anger, Luna stepped forward with a triumphant look, holding out the contract in her hand and saying, "General Manager Song, it's natural for a father to defend his daughter. But the truth is right in front of us. Your daughter was fired, while I just brought the company a contract worth over $100 million. I understand it's hard for you to accept that your daughter isn't outstanding, but we also need to respect reality." Before she could finish, the company's vice general manager rushed out of the elevator, panting, his face urgent. He didn't even notice my father's presence and immediately shouted, "I heard you guys got $100 million yuan contract?" Nathaniel, thinking he was there to praise him, immediately flashed a bright smile. "Yes, just signed last night. I was about to report to you. Luna signed it, she's really good, and the department also recognizes it. I think we can consider promoting her. Consider your head." Before Nathaniel could finish, the vice general manager roared, cutting him off. "Are you two idiots? Did you even check the contract? There's a problem." As soon as the words left his mouth, both Nathaniel and Luna froze. Luna still couldn't believe it, while Nathaniel immediately snatched the contract from her hand and bent down to examine it carefully. Just a few seconds later, his face turned pale. He had clearly discovered the problem. I saw his complex gaze directed at me. Perhaps only now did he remember that every time a contract was signed before, I was the one who meticulously reviewed each clause, confirmed everything was in order, and then sent it to him. He was used to me checking things, and he had benefited too many times from changing names and taking credit, ultimately forgetting Luna's true abilities. Before he could even speak, the vice general manager sternly asked, "Why didn't this contract go through me?" Normally, all contracts had to pass through the vice general manager for a final check. Clearly, this time Nathaniel, overly joyful and eager to claim credit quickly, had made the decision on his own. "Sorry, there wasn't much time then, I thought I could handle it fine myself." Nathaniel lowered his head, admitting his fault, his voice barely audible. The vice general manager was so angry he couldn't stand it. He pulled out his phone, intending to call HR immediately to demote him. Luna, seeing this, quickly interjected, "Please don't punish Director Nathaniel. I'll take responsibility for this." The vice general manager glanced at her. How do you intend to take responsibility? Luna still hadn't grasped the severity of the situation and said as if it were no big deal, it's just a small mistake. If the other party doesn't check carefully, they won't even notice. At most, we can apologize to them and amend the contract. The vice general manager was so angry he laughed. A small mistake? Do you know how much we'd have to compensate if the other side actually pursued this? Without waiting for her reply, he gritted his teeth, so much that you wouldn't be able to pay it even if you sold all your assets. All 8 generations of your descendants would have to come here to work to make up for the loss. Luna was about to argue back, but the vice general manager pointed directly at the door. Enough, don't waste my time. Grab your things, go to HR to get your final pay, and get out of this company immediately. The situation changed so rapidly that even my father and I were momentarily stunned. My father, puzzled, leaned in and whispered to me, "Is there any company that lenient? Such a big mistake and they're not even suing?" Just then, my phone vibrated. I took it out and saw a message from a friend. "How's it going?" The news about the 100 million yuan project having problems must have spread by now, right? The tone was full of pride. I don't believe any company would dare hire them after this. It was then that I realized. It turned out this contract was deliberately set up by my friend. But never mind. What goes around comes around. Even without this trap, Nathaniel and Luna would have dragged the company into an abyss sooner or later. I texted my friend a thank you, then turned to my father and replied, "Perhaps it's because you've lived a kind life and done good deeds, so you're lucky." My father's face brightened, his eyes crinkling with laughter. The vice general manager now noticed my father's presence and quickly bowed in greeting. "General Manager Song, please rest assured, I will handle this matter strictly." He then turned and glared. "Why are you still standing there? Get out of my sight immediately." With that, he nudged Luna to make her leave quickly. Nathaniel gritted his teeth and stepped forward, blocking their path. "Vice General Manager, have you forgotten? Even if Luna made a mistake this time, she has also contributed a lot to the company before. Is it fair to fire her just for this one incident? Isn't that too much?" Over the years, to elevate Luna, Nathaniel had praised her countless times in front of senior executives, and he had even arbitrarily put her name on many projects. The vice general manager hesitated for a moment and then said, "Even so, it's not acceptable. She can't stay. Do you know how much the company would lose if this case were exposed?" Although he said that, his tone had clearly softened a bit. Nathaniel, seeing this, seized the opportunity and continued to persuade him, "Actually, to be frank, this contract was just a small oversight. The client hasn't raised any concerns yet. If we fire someone who has contributed to the company for so many years just for this, morale will definitely drop." The vice general manager frowned. What Nathaniel said wasn't entirely wrong. Seeing the vice general manager starting to waver, my father seemed about to say something, but I raised my hand to stop him. "I'll handle this. Consider it my first task after taking office." Besides, when I thought about it, the reason Nathaniel even had the grounds to say what he did was partly because I had tolerated him before. My father nodded, saying nothing more. I walked up to Nathaniel, looked him straight in the eyes, and asked, "Are you sure Luna has contributed to the company?" I clearly saw the guilt in his eyes. His lips trembled. "Of course." I smiled faintly, leaned closer, and said in a voice only we two could hear, "After 5 years together, do you think I wouldn't have left anything behind?" I only said it to test his reaction, but Nathaniel's pupils immediately constricted. "You. So, you should think carefully. If there's truly an investigation, the first person dragged down will be you." With that, I didn't care anymore, turned around, and pulled my father out of the office. A few minutes later, the vice general manager came to report the situation. I thought he was going to say that Nathaniel had agreed to fire Luna, but the situation was even more dramatic than expected. The vice general manager said that after we left, Nathaniel had advised Luna to go through the resignation procedures. Initially, she agreed, but when she went to process the paperwork, for some unknown reason, she went ballistic, smashing things and screaming that she wouldn't resign. She even returned to the office, verbally abusing Nathaniel, calling him a two-faced hypocrite who pretended to be kind but still had feelings for me, deliberately pushing her away to get back with me. Everyone tried to stop her, but Luna didn't stop. She brought up a series of Nathaniel's bad deeds, including how he stole my credit to help her, falsified entertainment receipts to use company money to buy her gifts, and even transferred company funds for his personal use. The more she spoke, the more outlandish it became. The entire company immediately erupted into chaos, the news spreading like a virus. The vice general manager immediately had people investigate on the spot, and the results confirmed it was true. Thus, even Nathaniel was fired. I stood in the general manager's office, looking out through the floor-to-ceiling glass. Nathaniel was clutching his box of belongings, trudging step by step out of the company gate. Every few steps, he would turn his head and look back. That scene made me involuntarily recall that birthday. He closed his eyes, his face full of hope, saying sincerely, "I wish I could go farther and fly higher." But now, he himself was the one caught tightly in the trap he had set, willingly sinking into the mire. After Nathaniel and Luna were fired, the 100 million yuan contract was also handled by my friend and officially cancelled. Even so, the entire incident served as a wake-up call for everyone in the company. Immediately after taking office, the first thing I did was reorganize all internal procedures and hold a company-wide meeting, using Nathaniel and Luna's case as an example to re-establish discipline. Before that, my father was still worried that employees wouldn't accept me, but unexpectedly, a few days later, he himself had to nod in agreement. A few days later, during dinner, my mother teased with a gentle smile, "My daughter is surpassing her father now. Her aura is even better than yours when you were young." My father wasn't angry, he laughed heartily, just passing on the torch. Young people nowadays need a place to shine. Old folks like us should retreat to the background. I raised my glass, toasting my father. "I feel lucky to stand on your shoulders and see the world." My father's eyes crinkled with laughter, and he drained his glass. My mother also smiled, nodding gently. That moment made me pause. Being with Nathaniel for too long, I had almost forgotten what it felt like to live in a warm home full of laughter. Just then, the doorbell rang. I stood up to open the door. Unexpectedly, the person standing outside was Nathaniel. His eyes were red and swollen like light bulbs, as if he had been crying for a long time. "Scarlett, I have something to tell you." Before he could finish, I raised my hand to signal him to stop. "Let's talk outside." I didn't want my parents to worry, so I casually made up an excuse and pulled him outside. "What do you want to say?" I asked, my voice cold, devoid of any softness from before. Nathaniel seemed to have anticipated this attitude. He paused slightly, then quickly regained his composure. He pursed his lips, his eyes full of resentment. "Scarlett, does it have to be this way? You've also deceived me for so many years. Aren't I the one who's most hurt?" With that, he raised his hand to wipe away tears, as if he were the biggest victim. I chuckled softly. "Is my identity that important? Does it affect our relationship? Have I ever used it to toy with your feelings?" On the contrary, I had used that identity to secretly help him countless times, paving the way for him every step of the way. I asked several questions in a row, but Nathaniel only pursed his lips, avoiding my gaze. Finally, he made an excuse, "But you once said we had to be honest with each other." I looked at him and replied calmly, "What about you? Have you ever been honest with me? Those times you helped Luna throw dirt on me, did you ever ask for my opinion?" Nathaniel was silent. I continued, "No matter how well you hide it, habits can't be hidden. If you had bothered to pay attention, you would have realized my true identity sooner or later. But you didn't care at all. All these years, your mind was never on me." Nathaniel seemed about to explain, but I cut him off, my voice calm. "I've read all the messages between you and Luna." Hearing me say that, Nathaniel's face immediately turned ashen, completely drained of color. After a long while, he finally parted his lips, struggling to ask, "You saw what?" I replied calmly, "I saw everything." There was one time he forgot to log out of his account on my tablet. Just then, Luna sent him a message, and I saw their entire chat history, spanning 2,556 days. I also clearly saw the feelings he had for Luna. It turned out he had always secretly been in love with her. All his efforts and struggles over the years were just for Luna to glance at him once. When he received the director appointment, the first thing he did was send that news to Luna, I was told later. Only then did I realize that I had always been just plan B in his heart. But in love, there shouldn't be and cannot be a runner-up. Nathaniel seemed to understand that at this point, all explanations were meaningless. He pursed his lips, finally almost pleading, "So, can you, for the sake of the feelings we once shared, not blacklist us?" Blacklist? I frowned. His eyes were red, his voice hoarse. "Ever since we left the company, Luna and I have been rejected everywhere. Wasn't that your doing? Even if you hate me, we once truly loved each other. You shouldn't be so heartless, should you?" I stated plainly, "I never blacklisted you. It's just, many of the clients you worked with before are my friends. If you two go there looking for jobs, you will naturally be rejected." "Your friends?" Nathaniel's eyes widened. I nodded. "To help you establish yourself in the company and achieve success, I begged quite a few friends. When you posted intimate photos with Luna on social media, they saw them too." As if doused with cold water, Nathaniel's entire body stiffened, his face growing paler by the second. I had opened so many paths for him, and he himself was the one who personally blocked every single one. "If there's nothing else, I'm leaving." Seeing him still standing there stunned, I said nothing more, turned, and walked away. As I reached the staircase landing, I hesitated for a moment, thinking of turning back to say something. But then I saw Luna appear from the hallway, running toward Nathaniel. She impatiently snapped, "What now? What are we going to do now? Nathaniel, are you just going to let her leave like that? Why didn't you beg her just now? You two were together for 5 years, couldn't she help with such a small matter? What pride do you have left? Now you have no job, no money, you're practically starving." She was about to continue, but Nathaniel lost his patience and pushed her away. "Wasn't all this your fault? If you hadn't caused trouble at the company back then, we wouldn't be in this predicament." "You're blaming me?" Luna's eyes widened. "I was passionate because I loved you, and you're ungrateful. If that's the case, let's break up." "Break up? You want to break up? Do you know what I did to defend you in front of Scarlett? Now you want to break up? Do you have any conscience?" I didn't listen any further, turned around, and walked straight home. Nathaniel said I deceived him. But looking back, throughout all the years we were together, his sincere words were probably few and far between. But it didn't matter. Life had to go on. Everything would pass. In the days that followed, Nathaniel no longer contacted me. I also didn't care about him, focusing solely on my work and managing the company. It wasn't until 2 years later that I heard news of him from friends. By this time, the company's profits had tripled, and I was busy preparing for our first public listing. My father completely entrusted the company to me. As if afraid I'd change my mind, that evening he immediately bought 2 plane tickets abroad, taking my mother with him to travel and enjoy their golden years. Friends came one after another to support me at the company. During a break, someone brought up Nathaniel and Luna. I heard they couldn't find good jobs domestically, so they drifted to another province. They got into a company, but Luna caught the eye of a young master there and was planning to abandon Nathaniel. Nathaniel was so angry he went straight to that young master and told him everything. Unexpectedly, he picked the wrong person, and as a result, both of them got played and were sent to a detention center. It's still unknown if they'll get out. Someone joked, "Scarlett, after all, he was your ex-boyfriend who wronged you. Do you want to visit them? And maybe show off that your company is about to go public?" I didn't reply. I just stood up and walked to the large glass window. The brilliant white sunlight streamed in, reflecting the bustling movements of people below the 17-story building. I looked down at the indistinct black dots and smiled faintly. No need. It's too far, no need to look. The end.